Hello, everyone. This is Sebastian McMahon from IA Financial Group. I'm on the road. This is a very shortened week for the markets because of the US Thanksgiving. And as you can hear from the voice, we're nearing the holiday season. We're getting into winter. And of course, the flu is starting to creep up here at the McMahon household. So sorry for the harsh voice this morning. But the review this week is titled All About the Fed because this is what is dominating the markets right now. Yes, there are some risks about the AI trade, some questions to be asked this week. We've learned that, Alphabet, or formerly known as Google, they just sent out their new model, Gemini 3, which seems to be better than the other models. So this is gaining some attraction for Alphabet and strong performance on the week. And also Alphabet, they are designing AI chips for data centers, and they're starting to get significant orders there as well. So you need to ask questions about the model of NVIDIA. So these teams are all through, but it's not the questions about whether AI is in a bubble that in our opinion are leading the market action is the views on the Fed. And we've gone full circle in November. That was the topic of the review last week, but there's more this week, and it seems that the market is crystallizing the odds that we will have a cut in December. We're always in that camp. We think a cut is coming in December, maybe a hawkish cut, but still a cut. So let's get to that in a few minutes. Before that, let's look at this week's markets at the close on Wednesday because it's a shorter week because of US Thanksgiving. So as you see, pretty much black everywhere, or let's say green everywhere. For equities, the TSX was up 3.4% on the week. The S&P 500, Nasdaq 3.2 and 4.2%. If you bring everything back in Canadian dollars, the TSX is still ahead of the S&P 500 because the CAD was stronger this week. Gold was up on the week, so a very positive week here. And what's driving the market action? So if you go to the next slide here, markets are again convinced that the Fed is coming with rate cuts. So if you remember last week, I mentioned that we had gone full circle on the pricing of the Fed from 70% odds of a cut in December at the beginning of the month of November to about 30% at some point, and we're back to 70, where today we're at 80%. And it's mostly because last week, last Friday, after I had recorded my review, Mr. John Williams, who's the New York Fed president, likely one after the chair, the most influential member of the committee, came out saying that I still see room for further adjustment in the near term to the target range for the federal funds rate to move the stance of policy closer to the range of neutral. So basically, he was saying he still sees the case for cuts in the short term. So coming from Mr. Williams, market had what it needed. So now the pricing is pretty stable at about 80%. We think it's right. But also the action on the pricing for 2026 is important in the background. At the bottom left, you have, well, the news. I don't know if it's not confirmed, so it's not news yet, but there was a report that Kevin Asset is in the lead to get the job of FOMC chair when Mr. Powell's term ends in May of 2026 as the chair. Mr. Powell can stay on the committee. Usually the former chairs do not stay, but his term as the chair ends on May 2026. So if we have Kevin Hassett is a close ally of Donald Trump. The markets, of course, with reason, are thinking, all right, that means that the odds that we have a monetary policy that is easy enough to please Donald Trump, the odds of that are rising quite significantly. So markets are starting to price in even more cuts for 2026, and this is what is supporting or driving the market action right now. So we will have the decision on December 10th. Again, this year, the Bank of Canada and the Federal Reserve will bring their decision on the same exact day. So a very important data point, and also the signaling or the messaging for 2026 will be very important. So we'll keep you posted there. There will be another review next week to, let's say, do the final preview on these decisions. Now, what we'll be watching next week in Canada, we'll have the S&P Global PMIs, so the readings on the manufacturing and services sector, the jobs report will coming out as well. In the US, ISM manufacturing and services, and also two inflation numbers. First, the core PC inflation for September. It's published late because of the government shutdown, but very important reading of inflation, especially for the Fed. And we'll have the PPI inflation for October. So two very important data points here. So it's always a pleasure to serve you. We'll be back again next week to set the stage for very important central bank decisions. If you appreciate the content here, please don't hesitate to share. And of course, come back next week.